Hey there. In this lesson, we're going to do our border with a corner. But before we do that, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't confusing you with the different measurements. So when I created this rectangle, basically the height is 45 inches, which is this one. But in the fabric, when this is going to be printed in the fabric, this will be the width of the fabric. So I don't want you to be confused. So I'm just going to explain this. And if know already, if you got the idea, then you don't need to listen to all the explanation. You can just jump ahead. But this is basically what happens. So I'm going to get rid of this. And I just made a little clipping mask of our pattern here. So this is the original pattern. And what's going to happen is that when this is printed, most likely there will be a roll that prints, let's say, the 24-inch wide. So, and then this will repeat every 24 inches. So it will be repeated like that. Okay, so when this is printing, this will be your fabric width, because the selvage will be at the top and at the bottom. So this is when you have that little bit of fabric. There is maybe there is like a color code in there, or there's something printed, the bit of fabric that you don't use. So it's going to be printing like that. So I'm going to make another one. So the roll will be printing 24, and then another 24, and then another 24. So your fabric will look like this once it's printed. Okay, so that's the difference. When we actually do the square here, the 45 inch will be, or whatever measure it is, will be the height. But when it's transferred to your material, to your fabric, then that will be your width. So hopefully this is not confusing. But just keep in mind that it will be printing that way, so this direction, most likely. Then you just need to make sure that the company you're talking to is actually printing that way, and clarify before you make the pattern. I will show you this, but when you want to upload something like this on Spoonflower, you will have to actually put your pattern this way. Because when they print on Spoonflower, when you see the preview, it will show you that way, and they will be printing this way instead. So if you leave your motif, like your pattern like it was before, it will print in a wrong way. Basically, you won't have a continuous border here. You will have something, I think, something like this. So we print and it will just repeat like that. And if you want a continuous border, then you should rotate it. But I will show you how to upload your patterns on Spoonflower. All right, so having said that, let's carry on with our border pattern making. Okay, so in this case, I wanted to show you how to make a border pattern which has a corner. So you can use it, for example, for a tablecloth. Or if you have motifs for example, a baby blanket, or anything that is square or rectangular like this. So let's say you want to do a tablecloth. Just again, make sure you know the measurements before you do your pattern. So let's say you want to make a tablecloth which has these measurements, which is it was 45 by 24. So I'm just going to make a copy and rotate it. And let's see. We need to have something, a motif that can go in the corner. So I'm going to get rid of these. I think I'm going to lock this. So Control 2 to lock it. and we can work better without being worried about moving these. And let's get rid of that for the moment. So I'm going to use this for the corner. Okay, so you can position it something like that. You can always put it like this, but then be aware that this is going to be cut. So it depends how you want your design to appear. And again, this is not going to be super great pattern. It's just to show you how this works. So let's try not to make it too ugly. Let's move it a little bit. All right, and then this needs to be repeated in the four corners. So I'm going to press R. Let's see if I can put it more or less in the middle, and then hold down the that wasn't in the middle. Hold down the Alt key while you're rotating it, and I'm going to just adjust it a little bit. Let's get rid of these. Oops. Okay, and then we can put something in there. So we can do something like that, and maybe we can use this just to speed up things. So it's at the back, so Control Shift and right bracket to bring it at the front. This is the square brackets. So this is quite tall. Maybe it should be a bit more like this, less motifs in there. Okay, and again we will need something there too, but I don't want to use up too much time try to make it perfect, because you need time, as you know, to make a really nice pattern. And here we just want to see how this works. So I'm going to move this on the other side. Just hold down the Alt key, and then let's turn it around and move it a little bit. So this is a bit too much. Let's move these to the side. It's a bit too big as well. So then it's just a matter of adjusting it a little bit, make sure that it looks balanced and nice, which this probably doesn't really that much, but it's just to show you. So let's copy these at the top. So hold down the Alt key, drag it, and then we're going to turn it like that, make it a bit more up like this. Okay, so this is how you construct this sort of pattern with the motifs that you already have. And of course it needs a bit of work, but then this doesn't have to be a repeating pattern, because it's basically a placement print. So you have your measurements, you make your pattern the same size as your measurement. So if your tablecloth is 90 inches by 70 inches, then that's what you need to make this background box. So that it will print the right sides. And then I'm going to unlock all. And then if you have, again, a contract with a company, which that's great if you do, make sure you ask them how they're going to print it and what measurements, because again, they might be using a roll. So they will print that, and then they will print another one like that, and then another one, and so on. So that's what the fabric will look like, and then we just cut it in the middle there and here, and then you will have all the nice tablecloths with your beautiful designs in it. And if you want to do this for Spoonflower, I actually never done it myself, but I suppose it's the same principle. Look at the sizes they have on Spoonflower, and then you can upload your design for that sizes. But again, I haven't tried this myself, so you should really experiment, see what it looks like, because they have these nice previews that can show you if your pattern works for that particular item or not. In the next lesson, I'm just going to show you quickly if you want to do a ribbon, how you should do it. I'll see you in the next lesson.